Hi everyone, I am Gina with Creative Brand Architects, and today we have a very special guest on our podcast, Founder Focus. We are today with Natalie Kathleen with Jim's Shoes. Hi Natalie, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Gina.
So happy to have you. You made the Shrek from Beverly Hills.
I know, this is my first official big trek to go do a podcast.
Well, first of many.
It was amazing. I will do it again and again already.
Good.
Thank you
Good.
for having me.
You're welcome. I was so impressed with your story the first time we spoke, so I really want to hear and have everybody else hear your founder journey. Like, where did it start? How did you start the shoe company? You have a very specific story from when it started that I want everybody to hear what you turned down. So let's start there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always like to just touch point and say I was 21 when I started my first business a few years ago, which led me on the meandering path through life and into New York, and that was a handbag business. And then it's about a decade in, I hit my first, I think I need a little break. I'm quite the hustler, and I went really, really hard. I went through a marriage, a divorce, a moving countries, a getting a green card, doing all of that. And I think I had a moment of like, I need to just enjoy the journey a bit more. I've been going so hard. And at that point, ironically, I went back to my hometown in Vancouver, Canada, to visit friends and family, and went for dinner with a bunch of my besties, including a guy from Brazil who I used to live with when I had my handbag business. And he had been back, moved home, and his nephew made a pair of shoes in the family factory. And so we're sitting around the table at a restaurant, and he's like, oh, look, who's a size 7? And I was like, I am. And we opened the box, and it was this pair of slip-on perforated leather, like kind of boat shoe looking sneakers. And everyone at the table went, that is not fair. Natalie wears like 4-inch heels only.
I love that.
But I was like, oh, little Zaki, I remember him. I met him when he was young. And this is so interesting. I'm kind of in a space where I was doing consulting and trying to learn more after my first business, but I knew in my heart of hearts, I love building a brand. I love owning the whole experience. I love making things, getting my hands messy, having challenges. And I brought those shoes back to New York City, and I ended up wearing them so much more than I thought, and like in between, and to go to everything. And I was like, between going to meetings and going to the gym, riding my bicycle and all this sort of stuff. And people started noticing these like kind of quirky perforations in my shoes. And I was like, oh, I got them from my friend who's from Brazil. They're like, I've seen those in Rio. Those are like those are cuter. Those are like a little nicer. And I'm like, yeah, they're kind of like city chic versions of them.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. A couple of my good friends were like, let's get them and let's try and do something with this. And so I was like, I don't know if I can do it again. Like, I don't know, questioning it. And then I said, you know what, let's see if I WhatsApp. Hey, Zaki, can you make me 10 pairs in like each a different size and different color, and can I see if people actually like these? And so I pulled together my friends in kind of like the fashion world, the athletic wellness space, and hosted a party on a rooftop in Chelsea on like a super humid, crazy hot summer day, and did our own little Kickstarter. I remember being in my West Village apartment, pressing go on the website. They're like, oh, we actually have to take payments. Okay, go back. And I like literally was back in the house, and I'm like, I gotta like make sure this website can like charge people. And then I was like, great, done. And like pedaled up through West Village into Chelsea, sweaty, and like arrived and set up. And that was the first of what became like a zillion trunk shows, and just telling everybody and anybody about it. And I think we said we deliver in 6 weeks, probably 60 weeks it felt like later. We delivered the first batch, but by the time we had that, we had pre-orders for the next. And
amazing.
It was just really cool. Long, short story there.
Right.
Yeah.
But didn't you tell me after that you got an offer?
I love that you remember that. Oh,
I want to hear about that.
So this was actually my handbag world.
Got it. So this was before.
This was before
you got into
Jim's.
This
yeah,
position.
I seem to love leather and accessories. It's kind of a thing, and my little daughter's taking after me already. But this was with my handbag business, and I'd started it in Vancouver, grown it into the U.S. market, producing actually originally LA, and then New York, and then China, and like doing it all myself with interns, and like again, why I kind of like am so proud of what I did and not surprised I burnt
Burnt
out.
out, yeah.
And so just before burnt out, I opened a pop-up store when pop-ups were like just starting in Nolita. And it was because a guy I was dating did the math and was like, if you sell one handbag per day from Thanksgiving till Christmas, you can pay the rent. And I was like, thank you. So I opened this pop-up, and I was doing quarterly collections with these beautiful catalogs, like stylist models, everyone helping me out. It was all like, hey, I'll pay you in handbags. And the talent I look back that I was able to use just because we are all friends is just crazy. Awesome. And so I was then like, how am I going to get this bigger? Because I was sitting in like Henry Bendel's, and there's like Rebecca Minkoff, who we all know who she is and what she's accomplished, beside me. And I'm like, damn, I don't have like a family member that knows how to run a business. I don't have a bank load of money. Well, how am I going to get there? And so I started reaching out, and one of a licensing company, so to say, got wind of me, and I sat for the first meeting, and they're like, this is not possible. How are you doing this? 3 people and you don't even pay them?
It's crazy.
I did, don't worry. But, and so then it was randomly, he goes, I'm going to come to your shop. I don't usually go downtown. I really think this was hilarious. And he's like, I'm going to come down past 14th Street and come check out your shop. And he took me with his beautiful assistant, and we sat in the cafe next door, and he literally wrote on a napkin, I'm not making this up, okay, so if you were to get CFDA, that would be cool. You'd get some more equity. If you were to do this, you could give it like a tiered structure. You'll get a good salary. And I was like, whoa, that is a good salary. And you'll maintain 1% of your company.
Whoa.
I'm like,
whoa.
Oh, this is my baby. This is literally, I've attached myself to this since I got divorced, since I've moved. Like, this is every piece of me. Every other word of my mouth was about my business. And
your legacy.
My legacy. And, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I said, thank you. I appreciate it. I have to think about it. He said, well, okay, cool. I'll see. I'll just take that as a no. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty cutthroat.
This is pre-Shark Tank.
Pre-Shark Tank. Pre-Shark
You got
Tank.
an offer that you did refuse.
I did refuse.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
2020, there's so much, but I'm so...
Do you have any regrets?
No, I think I would have, I'm so curious where my path would have gone, because it would have been completely different. I would have learned the corporate world. I would have had a lot of extra help and support. I don't think Jibs would be here.
Yeah.
Like, how would that other serendipitous moment have happened? So it's kind of like, it's my curiosity, like, I'd love to raise a family in Manhattan, but I'd love to raise a family in LA. I want all these things. And so I can have fun being curious, like, oh, I wonder where that would have gone. But 100%, I made the right decision.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago was Jibs.
10 years ago was the start of Jibs.
Where's Jibs now?
Whew, I've been 5 business models and a million different ideas. But you know what? And the same or very, very similar product. So 10 years, I feel like 10-year overnight success. It's something my mom ingrained in me early on, probably with my first business. And I'm my biggest challenger of like, oh, I have deadlines. I want to do this. I want to do everything. It's been, a lot of emotional of going 10 years in that sense. Through
COVID, post-COVID, what did that look like?
So I think the COVID was a moment within already just raising a business, I like to call it, is just before I had finally secured some funding through some really great partners that I'm still with, like months before. And our structure then was, Natalie, maybe cut that hockey stick model to go hard and fast before you actually have a really strong base. And so we had just started kind of like peeling apart the onion of what Jibs had become when I didn't even know what a cash flow and a budget was. And somehow I had been doing it for 5 years, is we brought it.
Notes in your phone.
Exactly. Like, woo! Again, another proud moment. Somehow we did it. And so we had started peeling it back. So we really used that COVID moment when people weren't traveling. The shoe was the perfect shoe for travel. That's what we started with. This is the shoe you take on a trip with you. And all of a sudden COVID hit. We didn't know if we were ever going to travel again. Travel was a dirty word. So within minutes, we're like, this is the shoe you wear in your living room? Like, we had to really pivot. Yeah. And so it was nice that I had the grace that we hadn't planned huge sales that year. We wanted to bring it back. We wanted to fine tune the product. I had new factories. I had just gone to visit them in Brazil. I think that actually might even be one of the last times I went down, because what that moment did in the business, that 5, 6-ish years in, was like, what am I good at? and what do I need to lean on other experts for? I think that's the first time I hit that. And
Pause there. That's a huge lesson.
Yeah.
Is how can you leverage around you to push the brand forward?
Yeah.
And every founder has that moment that they have to leverage a team and stop and let go of control to move the company forward, move the brand forward.
And that's two sides of it, because one side is me allowing that growth, and the other is being able to afford to bring in the right people.
Yeah.
And so I think especially at that phase, I had to choose one side or the other. Where am I going to hone some expertise or fix my expertise, enhance what I need to enhance to be a good leader of the company, and let some other things go. So like I said, at that point, I was like, I need a technical designer. I have this beautiful woman down in Brazil. I wouldn't be anywhere without her in the last years. She let me be able to say, I trust you with our product more than me. Now I'm like, I want to be there on the end of the assembly line to watch it all come off. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, in that part.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I leaned in. What I did is you can't have everything. That's probably the other thing I've learned, is that I am gonna have to let things go and give and take. And so I leaned into understanding the business. Now I can do a P&L statement and projections, and like Excel became my friend. Not really. It's a friend I really don't want to be. I want to break up with her.
Friend.
I want to break up with her. I want to go back to my InDesign friends. They're way more cool.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm doing now. So now, like 10 years in, I'm in a beautiful new spot where I'm like, okay, what served me up to now? What served the business? And that's even probably the newer thing, is now I've grown as a human so much. I've grown a human in this time.
That's right.
And so now there's this interesting
Balancing motherhood.
Yeah, and detachment from the business and the brand. It is going to be me. I can't get away. That's what Jibs is. It's it's going to be me. At the same time, my relationship with my business had to change, and that's tough.
Yeah, for sure. So now, what is your goal for the future with Jibs?
Creative.
Content, creative.
Yeah, content.
Partnerships. What else?
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like now I really need to step into like, oh, I've got this far. I hustled my butt to get this far.
Love a hustle.
We love a hustle. And sometimes like, oh, I wish I didn't know how to hustle. But then I might pick up the phone and ask for more help. But like it takes 2 seconds to get something done versus so I think there's some really interesting stuff with just even my style changing, how I use. I've always designed off like how we use what we wear. From my handbags that were really versatile to realizing as I'm doing a really deep dive on the brand of Jibs and what is this iteration, I'm calling it like 3.0, literally third time over. And it's like I can't get away from the fact it is the versatility. It just might be versatile for different activities in my life, but I started it running around to meetings in Manhattan and riding my bicycle and wanting to look sharp. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm in my car at drop off, going to the cafe, and it's like, oh, interesting. I'm having like a lot of light bulb moments of like, I might have changed, but it just shows that in a product that works for the person wearing it, we can do so many different things. So I need to take it at the right pace.
Timeless, classic, iconic.
Yeah.
For all of our e-commerce founders out there, I want to talk about your strategy online, because that's, those are our audience, and I want to hear about what's working for you online as far as social media, email marketing, SMS. What would you say your biggest channel is right now for revenue, or is there a combination you want to discuss? What's the strategy there?
I think it's always a blended.
I agree.
I think between even direct to consumer and wholesale or retail partners, I feel like I try to always come back to my first thing I learned with my original business was when people come in the door, hug and kiss them and tell them how much you love them. I think getting someone's attention is one thing, keeping it is the other.
Yeah.
And that keeping it is a lot of work. Yeah. And like, so, I would say even the last few years, I probably haven't been doing, I was hard on myself, but as much of that, because we just had to keep going. Yeah. And I'm really excited now that I can go back. And so your question is great. It's literally what I'm doing right now. Like, how do we simplify our hugging, kissing in that sort of sense? And so I think it really comes down to the engagement and being as real as possible in our storytelling. And like, if our shoe is for the in-between moments, yeah, sometimes it sucks. Like the
Yeah,
ice cream
sometimes
fell
those
on your
moments suck.
shoe and
Yeah.
you still got to go somewhere. And like, I think there's that in-between of like, not poor me, pity me, but like goofing around. Like life is challenging.
Life be lifing.
There you go. There you go. And so I think that goes,
Yeah.
like channels that we use for the direct consumer world. I mean, we're Shopify, which can plug into everything. We've tried a ton of like different digital tools, but the tried and tested Instagram, stories, reels, all that sort of thing. Klaviyo we use for all our email campaigns and flows. We've done a lot of SMS programs. What else? I'm sure there's TikTok. Funny, I signed up for when it like literally came out. I feel like there's a bunch of tools, and then I don't know, we just like focused, and I think that's something that
TikTok
could be
Shop
interesting.
is definitely, I think, something you should test as far as direction. And I definitely think it's an ecosystem, like you just explained, across channels. And it's about telling the same messaging across channels, as well as AI recommendations. I feel like that's a new thing that getting in there right now can help you be recommended as a shoe brand over competitors.
I've never clicked a Shopify email as quickly as it was like, click here to have your product put in the AI and ecosystem. And I was like, yes. But then, it also made me think it falls onto, I like our fans. So like, I like to call it like Club Jibs, our fans are our vehicle for telling a story. Right. So if we do our job and tell our story clear, with joy, with intrigue, they can then echo it out.
That's right.
So I would say our TikTok, Jibs TikTok, hasn't been fabulous because we're busy doing other things, but people on TikTok are talking about us. And I think that's where I want to make sure more.
Do you have an affiliate program?
We do.
Okay, great.
Definitely. So our biggest to date, I'd say inbound, has been through affiliate. Even in year 1 or 2, I was introduced to Travel Fashion Girl. Hello, you've had iterations of your business as well. And the traffic she would drive, and she's at a closed Facebook group, her Instagram, a top 10 blog list. Those sort of, clickable lists and stuff, those are great ways as well. Yeah. I think that's the whole thing, is like, how do we get more feet in our shoes, but really from eyes on things that make people feel good. Absolutely. That's our goal.
Well, how can we find Jibs shoes? And let's all get in there.
Yeah. Go to wearejibs.com. Check us out on Instagram. Same URL or title.
Awesome.
And also, we're going to be doing more in person coming soon. So if I can plug, we used to do Jibs tastings, because I'm a girl who likes a good sip of wine usually. And so we do little tastings where you can slip your feet in the shoes. You can talk to other like-minded people, a little bit of like an office chat kind of thing. And
in-person activation.
In-person. So we're going to start them now that I'm in LA. We're going to do some more here. Great. Find some cool retail partners, find some of these impressionable influencers and people, and sort of build the family out here. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to be a part of it.
I'm excited.
So nice chatting with you. Well, to many more chats like this, I think there's a lot of things that people can learn from it, and I'm really glad to have you today.
Thank you so much.
All right.